Earlier this week, we got confirmation that the Switch 2 will be coming out in 2025, and I have some predictions that I would like to share with you. Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Luminary and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be talking about my predictions for the Switch 2, and let me tell you, seeing that there's a bigger screen and a bigger Joy-Cons that apparently like roll on their sides, it just kind of gets me excited because that means that there's going to be more hardware, really cool things that are super duper exciting for Nintendo fans like myself. So if you would like to hear more about Switch 2 news or anything related to video gaming, please drop a subscription down below because I upload weekly video content here on the channel. And if you like what I have to say in this video, please drop a like down below and even leave a comment. What might be some of your predictions for the Switch 2? Now, let's jump into my 5 predictions. So this first one's a little bit of a downer, and I don't mean to start necessarily on something that's a little sad, maybe for some people, but I think it's going to be very similar to the Switch 1 release, where the stock will be super low for the first few months. I mean, we've seen that with a lot of different consoles recently, specifically coming out of Japan and China and all that sort of stuff, because just the way that the chips have been working and stuff like that. And I feel like the demand for the Switch 2 is going to be so high that no matter what, we're not going to have enough Switch 2s to go around for the first few months. And I'm also predicting along with this that there's not going to be a lot of stock because of the tariff things that are coming into the United States. I also think the stock price is not stock price. I think that the price of the Switch itself will be raised significantly because of these tariffs as well. So I'm thinking the Switch 2 could venture maybe in the $500 range, depending, because of all these new tariffs that are going to be introduced within the next few months, apparently. And I really think that that's going to put a harsh increase on video games and just everything in general that are coming into the country. And as we know, Nintendo is a Japanese company, so they will be coming from different places besides the United States. So keep an eye on that. That's kind of my one big Debbie Downer prediction I wanted to get out of the way, because I think that it's something that's really realistic, but we also have to be concerned about going forward. If you've watched the Switch 2 trailer, you saw at the very end that it seems like there's a new Mario Kart game or DLC. I heard some people think that it's DLC, but I'm assuming that it's going to be Mario Kart 9 is going to be a release title for the Switch 2, just like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was a release title for the Switch 1. I think Mario Kart 9 is going to be a significant upgrade from Mario Kart 8. I know that sounds like, no, really? But I really do think that Mario Kart 9 is going to be so much better, either in terms of just gameplay, graphics, maps. I just think there's so much to do that they could improve on from Mario Kart 8, and I think that that's what they're going to do here. I think that this will also feature 24-player races. I know we saw kind of that little map at the end of the trailer that you're like, ooh, I don't know, but I think if you count the spots, I counted about 24, so that would be really interesting. If we get 24-player races, that means these maps are going to be huge. It's going to be super long, they're going to be super wide, it's going to be super fun, and I'm super excited for that. And my final prediction in this category, this is still under number 2, is that Mario Kart will become the next Smash Brothers. And I don't mean like it becomes a fighting game. I mean, I think that Mario Kart's going to start collabing with other game companies to have their characters brought into Mario Kart. Maybe it seems like it's a little extreme. This is a little bit extreme, but I think we started seeing that with Link and Splatoon and other Nintendo properties coming into Mario Kart, I wouldn't be shocked if when DLCs release, if there's like oh, we added Simon from Castlevania, or we added Master Chief, with companies that they have good rapport with, or Bayonetta, or stuff like that. I think that that's a big possibility coming forward, but once again, I feel like it's a little bit of a stretch, but I wanted to throw it in here because I think it's a really cool idea, and I could see it happening in the future. So this next one is when we're starting to get into like not quite sure if this is going to happen territory, but I'm going to put it on here because I think that it's going to be one of those things that I could see happening. And this one is another like downside that I think is going to happen from the Switch 2. The Joy-Cons themselves will not have drift problems, but there will be a problem with the Joy-Cons connecting to the Switch. I think that that's going to be a big thing in the future, that there's going to be connectivity problems with these Joy-Cons to the Switch. Whether it being these being magnetic, because that's what I've heard from people, that these are magnetic Joy-Cons that kind of like snap into place. And I have a feeling either we're going to have a problem with the like magnetivity of them, I guess that's the word I'm going to use, where they attach to the Switch, or when we get the Switch, it's going to say, do not press into the Switch. Like, how it would snap together. And like, don't press it in. But there's going to be people who press in the Joy-Cons to the Switch and either break the Switch or break the Joy-Cons. And that's going to be the next Joy-Con drift problem of the Switch 2 generation. We could also just have problems with connections from the Joy-Cons to the Switch as a whole. But I'm more so talking about actually connecting your Joy-Cons to the Switch. I think that's where the problem is going to be for this console. My fourth one, and this is, as I said, we're getting to the bigger ones, like the, not quite sure if this is going to happen, but it'd be pretty cool if it did. I think that Metroid Prime 4 is going to be another release title for the Switch. I know, my Metroid fans, you have been waiting so long for this, and I have been waiting for this because I've wanted to get into Metroid for such a long time, and I felt like this was finally going to be the point to jump into it. I think that it's going to be a release title for the Switch. It's been years since this has been announced. I know it's gone through a whole bunch of different things, but I think this is finally the year that Metroid Prime 4 really gets what it wants, and I think it comes out with the Switch 2. If you look at the most recent trailer for Metroid Prime 4, you could definitely see that there's a lot of different things happening in there that I don't think the original Switch could handle very well. So that's kind of why I'm thinking that this is going to be a release title for the Switch 2, because we've seen gameplay from it now. We've seen bits and pieces from the cinematics as well, and it just feels like the thing that's going to happen is that this is going to be a release title for the Switch 2. And I wanted to save the biggest and the one that I think is the farthest off, but I, in my little heart, think that it's possible and maybe even probable. I think that the release of the Switch 2, we will get an expansion to Nintendo Online that finally gives us GameCube and Wii virtual consoles on the Switch. I think that this is finally the time that they do it with the release of the new console, because it can handle all that stuff. And here's the big and, I think we get Pokemon games on these consoles. Now, I don't want to say that we're going to get Ruby, Sapphire, all the originals, all the way up to this point. I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that Game Freak stands to make too much money from that, and they obviously don't want to lose money by just putting it on Nintendo Online. I'm talking non-mainline games. If we do get the GameCube virtual console, I could see us getting Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD on the virtual console. And I think that would be an amazing thing, because I remember playing Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD on the GameCube, and it would be so exciting to go back and play and make videos and just re-feel those experiences, because those were like some of my favorite games of all time. And not even to mention, on the Wii we could get like Pokemon Battle Revolution, or even like, I forget what it's called, the Pokemon Farm channel or something. I think we could get both of them as well on the Wii virtual console, which I think would be super duper fun. And maybe they even team it up with the release of some other stuff on other virtual consoles, like Pokemon Troze or Pokemon Pinball, or stuff like that that they release on other virtual consoles as well. I think that this is the time that you would maybe start seeing some of that stuff popping up, because I personally feel like the Switch 2 needs that kind of boost when it comes to Nintendo Online, specifically because I think Nintendo Online at this point kind of has stagnated a little bit with its virtual console releases. But maybe that's coming from somebody who doesn't use it too often, except when I go and like try to see what other games have been added. I just feel like it's slowed down recently, and that adding the GameCube and Wii would do wonders for Nintendo Online. So, well, that about wraps it up. I kind of spitfired all these real quick at you, and I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts out and predictions, because I think it's really, really cool that the Switch 2 has finally after so many years been announced, and they're actually calling it the Switch 2, which I think is something that is like really crazy, because I thought they would come up with something very unique for this, but they didn't. They just called it the Switch 2, which I think really works for it as well. So once again, if you like this sort of content, gaming content, Nintendo content, anything like that, please drop a subscription down below. And if you like this video, please drop a like as well, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think the Switch 2 might drop with, some crazy predictions. I love reading them all. All right, everybody, that wraps it up for me in this video. Once again, subscribe, like, comment. Please do that. It helps with the algorithm and everything like that. I hope that all of you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you back here next week for another video. See y'all then.